Hello guys, hope you're doing well. Sorry about the noise, but this video is about the extension cords for my Asics. So they start melting. So you can see it's all 12 gauge cords, but they just melting inside. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna try to zoom in here. They all start melting right inside. Also my my Wi-Fi plugs totally start melting inside because of that too. So, and this one even cracked. So I'm not gonna use these plugs anymore for Asics because they suck. They draw so much power, and we gotta use something else. So I found online a Wi-Fi breaker instead of this little guy Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi plug that I use. This one's here like for BM Max for 3400 watts. It's still kind of okay at 64 degrees, but it's still warm on touch. It's kind of getting hot, and it's not even hot outside, but this extension cord is just melting. 83 degrees. It's all black inside. You could see how bad it looks. Pretty bad. And this extension cord is 58 degrees, so it's not too bad, but it's still pretty bad. So today I'm gonna redo my connector, something different. So I found this breaker. It's a Wi-Fi breaker, and it's totally staying cool. So I tested for don't do that, don't try that. It's totally for testing only. So it's been staying cool. It's been mining for over 24 hours, and I connected guys here 22 amp on this wire. This is obviously 10 gauge wire, and everything is just cool to touch, nothing overheating. It's running 22 amp, so I'm gonna be using just for one Asic. So it's totally gonna be safe, and it will not even gonna heat up at all, which is a perfect switch or breaker. Also, it will disconnect if it's overload, just to protect the circuit, but it's not the purpose what I'm gonna use that for. So let's just wire it into the box and let's get to. All right, closer to summer, gotta reconfigure this whole shit. So I'm taking apart this shelf, and I'm gonna put it in so I can put all the Asics on the bottom, and then all my octaminers on the top. So let's get it done. We'll be going through our Wi-Fi plugs, and I just disconnect this one, and you could see it's still hot. It's about 98 degrees. It was going to 100, and you can tell it start melting right there. So I like these plugs. Before I use a lot of them. I have like 20 of those setups for GPU mining rigs, and they work perfectly fine until I start using them on KS3M and KS3. A lot of load. They are actually holding pretty well amperage. There's no problem. The only issue with the connector, so as soon as it gets slightly loose, it starts overheating like crazy. And this side, these guys, these metal parts, connectors, they're pretty much getting super hot. Look how hot it is, even after I unplugged it. So I'll be switching from all these Wi-Fi plugs, we'll call it outlets or plugs, to my, now I got this breaker, and this is 20 amp. They have different sizes of the breakers, from 10 to 63 amp. They control by the same exactly app, and I already tested one, and it's perfectly cool. Nothing heating up. It's completely, 2 wires goes in, 2 wires goes out. So we're gonna put to 240 volts. It can work on 120 and 240.
There is a version for 240. Let me see. They're all designed between 90, operating voltage between 90 and 240 volts. So there's absolutely no issue. I already tested them on 240 volts. They Wi-Fi connected. They show power usage, everything there. So it's perfect setup. All right, and I'll be using this box. Basically, it's a breaker box. Typically, probably used mostly for solar, maybe. I don't know. However, I found it online. They have for 6 spaces, 12 spaces, different kinds of boxes. I'm gonna try out 6 for the solar. If you have PV, it's up to 500 volts. Sometimes you bring, so there's no issue with the electrical limit there. I'm just gonna be using this setting up just like that. So there's a little clip right there, which is kind of cool. Very easy to remove. You'll set it up just like that, and the cover just go on top right there. It sets, once we set Wi-Fi configuration, this breaker remembers after the power outage, it will turn back in the same state. So it has a memory. It will it will reset back itself. If the power outage, it will come back, the power come back like a normal breaker, will stay on. You can turn manually on and off like a push button. So almost like the plug, like a Wi-Fi plug that has the bottom to turn on and off. The only difference is we're not gonna have any connectors just like that. We'll have it directly wired here. So I'm gonna use a 10 gauge wire just to eliminate the heat from especially high usage Asics like KS3, BMKS that I have, and KS3M. They're all like 34 to 36 watt. And that's a lot of wattage on one single line. And I wanna control it separately sometimes if I need to reset, for example, miner, and I'm away from home, I can always do it remotely from my phone. Just turn it off, turn it back on, and it's hard reset the miner if I cannot do it through the software, right? So it doesn't happen often, but it's nice to have this feature and to control. And for example, if your miner, if you're running out of power, is too hot, I can control and turn one of the miner off. For example, so that will be kind of useful. I always use this. That's why I use this Wi-Fi plugs from beginning, so I can restart the miner if it needs to, or GPU rig. It was before for GPU rigs, and I can also disconnect the rig if I need to, if I'm or getting too hot, or my pay rate for certain hours is different, and I can set it up and program that it's gonna turn between a highest rate off for 3 hours, and when I have the highest rate like 38 or 40 cents during summer, so it will shut it down and turn back on. So that's a nice feature to have. What I'm planning to do is set these boxes and set the plugs right there and control for individuals. I'll have 6 lines, well basically 5. I have 5 Asics. I'm gonna run 5 breakers. I only have 3 right now, so I'm waiting for the other shipment. I don't know why it's taking so long, but we'll set it up 3. I already have 1 on the test running on my 20, it's actually 25 amp, the one that I got, and it's running 22 amps constantly, and it's not even warming up to touch. It's same as the wire heat, basically same temperature as the wire, so which is really beautiful. There's nothing like this Wi-Fi plug. We'll then be running these plugs right here, and I'm gonna have to, I'm trying to get the power meter in here as well. Hopefully I can cut this window open larger and make it, I'm gonna show you what my plan is, and make it out the window right here. So when I install the plug here, right, I'm gonna have this window and try to imitate those boxes, power meter boxes. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, we'll see. I'll update you guys if it's working, but this cost is like, maybe $1 for this, $3 for the plugs, $8 for this, and $16 I found those meters online. So it's gonna be probably around $25 this set. complete set. I'll get the numbers together once I'm done. So what else? Yeah, so I'm gonna set them up, run the wires. I have 5 boxes for all my 5 Asics right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and run, wait for the rest of the breakers, but I can set it up and bring all the wires together ready to go. And once the breaker comes in, I'll just add additional breakers here and connect them on. Right now I can just connect maybe directly to my plugs there at the panel. The best way is to hardwire obviously to the panel, but I'm temporarily gonna use from the input side. I'm gonna plug it in with the also 10 gauge wire and those custom plug into the existing plugs that I have right now. I just want to eliminate the heat, because the heat in the extension cords in these plugs, it's actually meaning that I using extra power, because every time you heat up something, that means you're wasting electricity just to heat in some extra stuff, you know. So make sure you're not heating anything, because that's an extra power usage basically, and not good for summer because you need to cool down more items. So we'll get that going. I'll get the measurements of the conduit, cut it off, and from panel to where my Asics set up, and we'll get it started from there. Okay, now we pull all these 10 gauge wires through each box. So I have 4 of these that I'm gonna use. This is gonna be an extra box. But 4 of these, it's ready to go. I have a pair for 220 volts on each, 240 volts, and then the ground wire. I have it in white, which is fine. I just don't have any green wire, so we'll just know that this is our ground. And I pulled all the way through that conduit, and to the other end we'll connect to the Wi-Fi breaker box. All right, 1 is installed, 3 more to go. I totally love this 20 amp plugs, commercial grade. It's super, it's heavy duty, really nice. I know you're gonna say this configuration is not for 220 volts, because it needs to be horizontal here on the plug, but don't worry, I have the connectors this way done, so this plug's absolutely fine to use. They're just designed so you don't so you don't use them the other way around. So let's get the rest of them in. All right, so I have for now set up only 2 breakers. That's all I have until I have more coming. So one is the black one with the black top is actually the one that reads power, has a power meter option, which pretty nice. This one is just turns on and off. I didn't know that until I actually tested it out. So yeah, but I'd like to get some more of this, because it's really nice to have power usage on each line, as I'm going to be connecting as well. Besides that I have Emporia, it's still kind of cool to have that. All right, so let's do the final check. So we're going to check continuity, right, for the so first is our ground bar over here. So we're going to see our connection together on each of the ground. Perfect. All right, so our ground's perfectly connected on all 4 plugs. So next we will check our first breaker, which are very last one. So we'll put the first load here. Check it out, perfect. Everything connected. And then the second here, all right. The plug is working perfectly. And then we, same way, we check a second plug, perfect. And perfect. All right, cool. So these two are set up perfectly, nothing interconnected, so it's all separate. I have two more pairs of wires ready to go. So as soon as I get more breakers, I'll get the rest two of these plugs connected, and I'll probably need to run one more conduit from other location, because I only can connect four on at one location for the panel. It's gonna overload basically, because I have all this running almost 3600 watts, 32 KS3M and 34 BMKS, so they're all like kind of high load items. So I need to bring another power on the other end. That's why I kept it open. I'll probably bring another conduit somewhere on the side or here and connect this out together. All right, so let's get that in the shed, and hopefully we'll connect to the KS3, I guess, KS31 and KS32, because they're highest load, and I don't want to melt them, those plugs and extension cords to melt down. So let's get it done. All right, so I'm in the shed. This box I installed to the wall. Bracket this conduit, and I have temporarily set up these two plugs on 10-2 wire. So it's 10-2 connected to the breakers, and that's set up to the panel breakers. So there's a breakers in the panel control these two plugs, and it controls through these breakers. So it's kind of like a two breakers in a row, which is fine. This is mainly just to restart our system if we need to, and it's connected to the other side to those plugs. So let's go and connect the Asics. So cover connected, it's all ready to go. This is gonna be just these two plugs right here. Alright, so you guys can see a ridiculous amount of wires I have laying around. I'm gonna just start with these two KS3M, KS3M2, 1 and 2, right? We'll plug it in and reconnect to these two plugs right here. Alright, I just got this 3-feet cables for KS3M. So basically it's C19 connector, and I have this one is for 20 amp setup. So let's connect it, the 12 gauge. It's a pretty thick cable, so hopefully not gonna warm up even. So let's disconnect this KS3M2 first and connect the power plug. Alright, so our Asic starting. KS3M gonna be plugged in. Everything looks fine. Let's find our AC Infinity fan can be connected to the same plug. So let me just
started, the miner started to mine. So let's get to the second one. Let's find first AC Infinity fan so we can reconnect this. Alright, and let's turn the power off so we can reconnect this guy. It's pretty tight. I mean, I got him really tight. Alright, power off. AC Infinity fan. So we're gonna connect this one first, I guess. I'm gonna plug it in here. Right there. So it's gonna start. Alright. Excellent. Really love these fans. All the wires gonna be right under the bench there. And we're gonna be just having this nice and easy setup right there, just right here. No more wires, extra cabling, right? Okay, so let's disconnect this cable. This one was melting at the connector, as I guys showed you previously. Look at that. Look at this one. Yeah, never use extensions. Really bad idea. Alright, so let's get this another one, 3-feet cable. Alright, the second Asics in, connected, and we have it, yeah, starting up. Excellent. Alright, so we need to go just check, make sure they are online now, so I can clean a little bit of some of these cables already, just maybe a couple, and still 3 more to go. Alrighty. Alright, much better now. I know it's super noisy in there. I don't want to even go inside, so, but it looks so much cleaner. Only have few cables left to plug it in. Those 3-foot cables works perfectly. I love them, really love them. It's gonna be alright after I get this down. I still have to do this Octa-miners shell setup here. All those miners gonna go from there here, and then I can clear all this area, get ready for summer, hopefully to control the heat. Alright guys, thanks for watching, we'll see you